Most people start trading believing that profit is something that arrives quickly, as if one good trade will suddenly transform them into a market genius. But over time, the traders who last long enough start to see that becoming consistently profitable is less about predicting the future and more about controlling themselves. You know you're finally becoming a profitable trader when you stop feeling the need to chase every move. The market is chaotic by nature, and those who survive learn to wait, sometimes hours or days, because they understand that opportunity is a recurring pattern, not a rare miracle. You begin to realize that missing a trade isn't a tragedy. It's simply another data point. There is no panic, no sense of urgency to click a button just because the chart is moving. Instead, your decisions feel calmer, more deliberate. Every trade begins with a clear reason, and every exit reflects a plan rather than emotion. Your focus shifts from outcome to process. If you used to obsess over being right, now you pay attention to whether your analysis follows rules, whether your risk is defined, and whether your position size makes sense. The results no longer define your worth. The quality of your decisions does. You also start to recognize that taking small losses is not failure. It's just business. You don't revenge trade after being stopped out. You don't jump in larger just to make back what you lost. Instead, you accept the loss, evaluate the setup, and continue following your system. This discipline begins to feel natural rather than forced. You start to notice patterns in your own behavior. Maybe you realize you trade poorly when you're tired, or that you perform better in the morning than in the afternoon. You adjust your approach, not because someone online told you to, but because you have data showing what works for you. Consistency becomes personal. You stop comparing yourself to others' profits, screenshots, or predictions. Their journey is irrelevant because your only competition is yourself. You also begin to see money differently. When you start, every dollar feels emotional. Winning feels euphoric. Losing hurts your stomach. But as you become more experienced, this emotional attachment fades. Money becomes a measurement tool, not a judgment of your intelligence. You understand that a single trade is meaningless in the grand scheme. What matters is the long-term curve of your equity, not whether today was green or red. You no longer celebrate a lucky win or feel broken after a normal loss. Instead, your mood becomes steady. You wake up the next day and trade again, following the same routine. Another sign is that you no longer seek constant confirmation from social media, news headlines, or influencers. You don't feel the need to ask, is this the right trade? You trust your own system. You gather information, analyze it, and take responsibility for your decisions. If you make a mistake, you accept it. You adjust, refine, and move forward. You're not trying to find the perfect strategy because you finally understand it doesn't exist. What exists is probability, and your job is to stack that probability in your favor. Studying the market transforms from panic-driven guessing to a structured exercise. You keep a journal not because a book told you to, but because you genuinely want to understand your behavior and performance. Reviewing your trades becomes a routine. You look at what worked and why, what failed and why, and how you can improve. Your journal becomes more valuable than any indicator because it reflects your personal truth. Over time, you become more selective. You may take fewer trades, but your accuracy improves. Quality over quantity becomes your quiet strength. You protect your mental capital as fiercely as your financial capital. If you feel tired or unfocused, you step away instead of forcing a trade. You know the market will still be there tomorrow. You learn that your greatest weapon isn't your strategy, but your state of mind. Patience becomes your habit, not your struggle. Another subtle shift happens when you stop trying to find certainty. New traders crave predictions, but experienced traders recognize uncertainty as part of the game. You develop the ability to manage ambiguity. Instead of asking, will this go up? You ask, if it does this, what is my plan? If it does the opposite, What is my plan? You turn scenarios into branching outcomes rather than rigid expectations. You no longer need every trade to win because your confidence comes from your edge, not from luck. Over time, your relationship with risk changes. You set stop losses without hesitation. You never risk a large percentage of your account on a single idea. You understand that protecting capital gives you longevity, and longevity gives you opportunity. Small losses keep you alive. Controlled risk keeps you sane. You stop dreaming about doubling your account overnight. Your goals become realistic. Instead of thinking about how much you could make in a week, you focus on making good decisions every day, knowing that profit will follow. Consistency begins to show not only in your wins, but in your routine. Researching, preparing, executing, reviewing. Your days feel structured rather than chaotic. Even your personal life improves because trading no longer drains your emotions. You have more mental clarity, and your self-esteem becomes based on discipline rather than outcomes. You stop looking for excitement in trading. In fact, the best days often feel boring. Most of your time is spent waiting, watching, and preparing rather than acting. You learn to appreciate this calm because it means you're not reacting impulsively. Your chart looks cleaner, indicators are fewer, analysis is simpler. You begin trusting price action, structure, and logic rather than clutter. You learn to zoom out instead of micromanaging every candle. You no longer obsess over fast timeframes unless your system requires it. You understand the importance of context, levels, trends, and momentum. The market begins to make more sense because you've seen enough cycles to know nothing is truly new. Patterns repeat with different faces. You finally understand that profitable trading isn't about intelligence or predicting the future. It's about preparation, discipline, patience, and emotional control. The journey shifts from trying to get rich quickly to mastering yourself. True growth happens when you realize that the only thing you can control is your behavior. When you stop asking the market to behave and start managing your own reactions, everything changes. Slowly, you begin to feel the difference. You notice that the same situations that once caused panic now feel routine. You stop searching for shortcuts. You stop trying to impress others. You become quiet, focused, consistent. These changes don't happen overnight, but if they are happening to you, it's a strong indication that you are finally becoming a profitable trader.